When William Carey was a young boy, he loved reading adventure stories. Oh, I wish I could get in a ship and sail across the ocean and go to faraway lands and meet new people. And William also had a special talent. He could learn new languages very quickly. He was a young boy and he taught himself Latin, and then he learned Greek and Hebrew and other languages. Well, God gives each of us different interests and different abilities because God has a different plan for each of us. And God's special plan for William, it was to teach us that we needed missionaries. William grew up in England before there was a United States of America. Back then, most people went to the Church of England, and where the king could actually tell the pastors what to preach. One day, the king called for a national day of prayer. Sounds like a good idea, right? Except the king told everybody they were supposed to pray that George Washington and the colonists would lose the war for independence. I don't think the king should tell me how to pray, William thought. I should be able to talk to Jesus about anything, and I do think the colonists have been treated unfairly. Well, William started going to another church, and he continued reading his Bible. And as he kept reading, one verse made him think a lot. It's what we call the Great Commission. In Matthew 28, Jesus says, "Go and make disciples of all nations." Back then, most people thought that verse was just for Jesus' followers in Bible times. But the more he studied it, William Carey thought, no, Jesus wants all people at all times to keep telling others about Jesus. The next time he was at a meeting with other Baptist pastors, he stood up to bravely share his thoughts. Do you want to know what they said? That's ridiculous! If God wanted other people to know about him, he'd tell them himself. He doesn't need your help or mine. Now sit down and mind your own business. Well, William decided that even if no one else agreed with him, he was going to do exactly what God called him to do. He spent several years researching and writing a book about how people lived in other countries far from Europe. And when people realized that there were no churches, no Bibles, and not even a written language in so many places, they thought, well, maybe there should be missionaries. And when they heard a sermon that William preached called "Expect Great Things from God, but Attempt Great Things for God," they decided that maybe missions was possible after all. Well, God did call William to a faraway land. It was India. William and his family went, but life was not easy for them. The job that William was supposed to have when he got there, it had been given to somebody else. The missionary friend who traveled with them spent all of their money. 3 of William's children got sick and died, and the only place he could find with a free home and a farm was in the jungle. They were surrounded by tigers and leopards and snakes and crocodiles. William had every reason to go back to England, but he never did. William went to India thinking that to be a great missionary, he needed to be a great preacher. Certainly, when all the Hindus and Muslims learned how much Jesus loved them, they'd want to give their lives to Jesus too. But he was there 7 years, and no one had asked Jesus to be their Savior. And that's when William realized God had a different plan for him first. William was supposed to use his skill for learning languages to translate the Bible into the many languages that the Indian people spoke. He was able to translate the entire Bible into 9 languages and portions of the Bible into 29 other languages and dialects. Eventually, many Indians did become Christians through William and the other missionaries he worked with. But William's legacy is even stronger. He taught us how to be missionaries. Yes, teach people about the Bible, but also show them Jesus' love by improving their lives. Set up hospitals, set up schools, teach them to read their languages, help them grow healthy foods, train them for jobs, and help them to give up customs that do not value life. William Carey showed us that one person who dedicates their life to God and obeys Him completely can change the whole world. Boys and girls, what are you going to let God do with you?